You might have heard that 61 is somehow the new age you need to hit before you can touch your super, or that there is still some sliding scale depending on the year you were born. Here is the honest truth. For almost everyone watching this, it is simply 60. No sliding scale, no 61, no asterisk. Let me show you exactly where that confusion comes from, and more importantly, what actually happens the moment you hit that number. The number that matters is called your preservation age, and it used to genuinely be a sliding scale. Years ago, depending on when you were born, your preservation age could sit anywhere between 55 and 60. That system is where a lot of the lingering confusion comes from. People half remember hearing about a scale, assume it's still in effect, and land on a random number like 61 trying to guess where they fall on it. But that scale has already fully played out. If you were born after the 30th of June 1964, your preservation age is 60, full stop. And at this point, that covers virtually everyone who hasn't already retired. The sliding scale isn't a live concern for today's audience, it's a historical rule that finished doing its job years ago. So 60 is the real number. But here's what almost nobody explains properly, and it's the part that actually matters more than the number itself. Reaching preservation age doesn't automatically mean full, unrestricted access to your super. What you can actually do with it at 60 depends entirely on whether you've genuinely retired or you're still working. If you've truly stopped working for good, met what's called the retirement definition, your super opens up completely at 60. You can take it as a lump sum, start an account-based pension, and from that point, both the earnings inside the fund and the income it pays you are completely tax-free. That's the scenario people picture when they hear 60. But if you're still working, even part-time, you haven't met that retirement definition, and full access doesn't open up. What you do have access to is something called a Transition to Retirement Pension, or TTR, a way to draw a limited income stream from your super while you're still earning a wage. It's genuinely useful, letting you ease into retirement or top up your income, but it comes with real restrictions, capped annual withdrawal limits, and the earnings inside a TTR pension are still taxed, not the tax-free treatment you get once you've fully retired. A lot of people assume hitting 60 means the same freedom regardless of whether they're still working. It doesn't. The difference between retired and still working but over 60 is the difference between full tax-free access and a restricted, still taxed version of it. Picture two people, both 60, both with $400,000 in super. One has genuinely stopped working and starts a full account-based pension. Every dollar of income from that $400,000 comes to them completely tax-free, and they can restructure or withdraw as they choose. The other is still working 3 days a week and starts a TTR pension instead, drawing the maximum allowed under the annual limit. Their income stream is capped, and the earnings inside that fund are still being taxed at the fund's normal rate. Same age, same balance, same number, everyone told them was the one that matters. Completely different outcomes, purely based on whether they'd actually stopped working. But knowing the number, and knowing which version applies to you, isn't the same as knowing whether you actually should use it at 60, because there's a real practical catch sitting on the other side of this myth. Your super preservation age is 60, your age pension age is 67. That's a 7-year gap, where if you retire fully at 60, your super has to fund you entirely on its own, with no pension safety net underneath you yet. So busting the 61 myth doesn't mean 60 is automatically the right time to stop working. It just means you're not waiting on some mysterious sliding scale to catch up to you. The real decision is whether your super, on its own, can comfortably carry you across that 7-year bridge before the pension arrives. Someone retiring at 60 with $400,000 needs that balance to cover a genuine 7 years entirely on its own before the pension shows up to help. Someone with the same balance who works another 3 or 4 years, even part-time through a TTR pension, shortens that unsupported stretch dramatically and often arrives at full retirement with more super left, not less, simply because fewer years had to be funded alone. There's a practical wrinkle worth knowing if a chunk of your super sits inside property through a self-managed fund. Super isn't cash sitting in a bank account waiting to be split off. If your balance is tied up in an SMSF property, you can't simply carve off the portion you want to access. Getting to your money can mean selling the property first, in the right order, before you touch anything, which is a completely different timeline than someone whose super sits in ordinary managed investments. Picture a retiree whose SMSF owns a single commercial property worth most of their super balance. Turning 60 and genuinely retiring doesn't hand them instant cash. The fund still has to sell or refinance that property before an account-based pension can actually start paying out. And property sales don't happen overnight. Someone in that position needs to start planning the exit a year or two before their target retirement date, not assume the money is simply available the week they turn 60. So what should you actually do with this? First, confirm your own preservation age is genuinely 60, not because there's any real doubt left in the rules, but because it removes the vague anxiety of what if I'm the exception. Second, be honest with yourself about whether you've actually met the retirement definition or you're still working. That single distinction decides whether you get full tax-free access or the more limited transition to retirement version. And third, treat 60 as the start of a real, separate decision. Can your super comfortably fund you through to 67, rather than treating it as an automatic green light to stop working the moment the number arrives? It's worth adding one more thing, because it's the part that quietly drives a lot of the anxiety behind myths like this one in the first place. People worry that if they don't act the moment they hit the right age, they'll somehow miss their window. Preservation age isn't a narrow window that closes. Once you've reached it, it simply stays reached. There's no rush created by the number itself, and no penalty for using a TTR pension for a few years before fully retiring, or for working well past 60 if that's what actually suits your numbers. The pressure people feel around ages like this is usually bigger than anything the rules themselves actually demand. The honest takeaway is this: the 61 myth isn't really about a wrong number. It's about a rule that finished changing years ago, still living on in half-remembered form, making people uncertain about something that's actually completely settled. 60 is the number. What you can do with it depends on whether you're genuinely retired. And whether you should use it at 60 depends on a completely different question: the 7-year bridge to the pension, that the myth was never really about in the first place. 2 honest notes before you go. First, preservation age rules and the thresholds around transition to retirement pensions are reviewed periodically, so confirm your exact position with the ATO or your super fund before acting. Second, this is general information, not personal advice. Whether you've met the retirement definition, and whether 60 is the right time for you specifically, depends entirely on your own circumstances, so this is exactly the kind of decision to take to a licensed financial advisor or registered tax agent before you touch anything. If you'd heard the 61 myth yourself, tell me in the comments where you heard it. It helps me know what to cover next. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.